What's up, fight fans? We are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am your host, Edwin. Where do all fights start? Round one. We have an amazing show for you here today. Tune in, join us. Don't forget to hit that like button as you're tuning in. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be breaking down this Junto Nakatani versus David Cuellar. And what I think this means for MJ and Inoue in the future. You're not going to want to miss this video. So like always, let's get right into this video. So what's up, fight fans? I'm gonna let a couple of y'all join in. Let me know that you're in, and hit that like button for me. Let me know where you're watching the live stream from. We got a lot to break down here today. This is exciting in many ways for boxing because it kind of like gives you a picture of the future or what the possibility of things to come. Like, for instance, we witnessed the Four Horsemen era with Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, the Ryan Garcias, and the Teofimo Lopez. But we really didn't get them to fight each other now, did we? Well, not of yet, and a lot of those ships have sailed. But out there, the Philippines, Japan, UK, United Kingdom, the Brits, they don't care about that. Oh, as you saw Josh Padley come in against Shakur Stevenson and put it all on the line. So when they say they're going to talk about fighting each other, you better believe it's more likely to happen out there than it is out here for American fighters. And this was an amazing fight. Thank you for joining in the live stream. How you guys doing? I see you in the building. Carlos, salute. What'd you say right here? Oh, who comes? Well, I can address that right now for you. Junto, I think personally, the reason because most of the Japan professional fighters, like the top guys, are signed to him, right? But there was something really early on that Junto noticed about the Japanese style and the American slick style. And he decided to go to America. And I believe he trains in Texas, Junto. He's been out in America for quite some time. His head coach, world-renowned head coach, I think it's Hector. A lot of coaches in my head. Right now, I can't get his name in my head, but I'm very familiar with Junto's coach. I can't believe it's evading me right now. But I think that he knew that in order to elevate his game, he had to learn more. And he had to learn other styles to develop his one style. So Junto liked the American slick style. He idolized boxers like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, and etc. So I think he left Japan just to study the game, just to become better. Hector Garcia, right. Okay, I had his first name right. Thank you. So I believe he left because of the fact that he wanted to get better. You know, and it's not like, he abandoned Japan. He fully represents, as you could see, his fight was in Japan. Okay. But as a warrior, You can always stand to get better, and you can learn other styles to get better. I believe that's why. And in America, different boxing promoters. Why would you be promoted by a guy in Japan if you're where you live and your main headquarters is in America? It wouldn't really be making sense, phone call type shit all the time. You not really seeing them or whatever, and for whatever reason. But most of the fighters, Takashi, the way you pronounce it, I'm sorry if I'm messing it up. And I apologize if I mess up any of the Japanese fighters' names. They're just a little tricky for me, and I'm getting better with them as I broadcast. So bear with me with that. But I mean, no disrespect to no fighter. Um, but I'm the pronunciation of their names. I'm getting much more better. So the card kicks off in Japan. There was a few interesting fights leading into the Junto versus David fight, right? And one of the fights on the fight card, it was Jason Maloney versus that kickboxer kid, Tenchi, right? He fought Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather made him cry. Floyd Mayweather dropped him a few times. He fell funny in the fight. He looked like a little kid. At time he looked scared, confused. He didn't know how Mayweather was hitting him. He was already an established kickboxer and undefeated. Very, very young. He has an MMA little career that jumped off too. He has a big kickboxing record. He wanted to translate over into boxing. So he goes into what I believe very well worthy opponent. Jason Maloney's no one's gatekeeper. Jason Maloney is always going into the fight trying to win. Jason Maloney has fought, right? The Australian, many Japanese fighters already. Him and his brother. His brother went up against Junto Nakatani, right? And got brutally knocked out. Andrew Maloney. That was knockout of the year for Junto Nakatani. So he fought him. Let me tell you something about this kid Tenchi, right? Another kind of fighter that at once upon a time, I didn't really pay that much attention to him. Why? Sometimes these guys are playing around with boxing. He's a kickboxer, and his demeanor, when he comes, it can mislead you. Because it mislead me. I kind of read the book by its cover, and I'm being honest. I took his arrogance, his demeanor, cocky, and I said, oh, this kid he's not going to do anything, right? In only 5 professional fights, he went up against former champion Jason Maloney from Australia, the twins. And let me tell you something, man. I was pretty impressed with only the way he's developing, at the rate he's developing from all these other sports, kickboxing, everything, and to get your body to understand that you're not going to kick. And when you train in kickboxing, it's a different distance because you got to worry about their legs. And on the inside, you're thinking knee strike. So to get yourself to turn that off and think just upper body is not easy. That is not easy. And to flow, to make your body flow, to say, don't worry, you're not going to catch an elbow. You're not going to catch a knee. So when I saw him up against Jason Maloney, the slick shit Tenchi was doing, I have to admit, he's getting really good. Jason Maloney is no one's gatekeeper. When I saw Jason, I was like, oh, this Japanese dude messed up. First thing I thought, he messed up. If you think you're going to use Jason Maloney as a stepping stone, you're crazy. You're crazy. Jason Maloney is a fighter, bro. So I was like, oh, he's done. So the fight kicks off, and I was impressed by the Japanese kid. I was impressed. Yeah. I was like, wow, I can't believe he's getting and understanding some when he was stepping, he had that slick uppercut on the inside. And I was like, wow, it's not just the things he's doing. It was the when and the where and how he was doing it. Um, he didn't let like he seems to be a showman, and he seems to like attention. I noticed that in some of his fights, he tries to showboat or whatever. He was calculated in this fight. Jason Maloney too was too. In fact, Jason Maloney gave that kid everything and more. He was fighting him, bro. That was a pretty decent, great fight. Went the distance. There were a few titles on the line in that night. In fact, you know, was Dago Dago Higa. He fought in a rematch, right? Uh he fought Tsumi. He fought Tsumi. That was a rematch that the first fight ended in a draw. In fact, this fight ended in a draw. And in the 9th round, both fighters dropped each other. But when Tsumi knocked him out, Diego, when he dropped him, he face planted. He stretched him out. He was like this. It looked worse, and he got up. The fight went to 12 rounds. It was a banger. He suffered Tsumi. He suffered a eye gash, a headbutt, a clash of heads. I thought that the blood was going to go in his eyes and give him problems. In between rounds, they were cleaning the blood off his face, but it was just pouring down. Then his corner got the cut under control, and no more blood was coming out, and he was protecting it well. It was a great fight. It was a great night in Japan. Then Junto, the main event, took place. Boy, wow, Junto, man. What? He's a problem. He's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. I've been in a lot of situations in my life, and sometimes when I thought something was a problem, it really wasn't. I might have overthought things, and but when it came time to perform in whatever that trade was, I did well or exceed. So when you think about situations in life or problems, what do you define as a problem? That right there, my boy, Junto, he's a problem. That's a fucking problem. David comes into the fight. He's a young fighter, right? He's a young Cuellar. He's a young fighter. He was undefeated. Now, this kid is 23 years old. He turned professional at 15 years old. This little Mexican kid. But it was his first time he ever fought outside of Mexico. So he traveled to Japan to fight and compete for his first world title, his first crack at a world title. He had a WBC Youth Championship and a silver, but he had never had no major world title. So the kid travels out there. And let me back up for 1 second. Isn't this the same David that a few YouTubers, content creators, said would give Naoya Inoue a problem if he moved up, if not beat Naoya Inoue? Well, everyone wants to say that, but it's much easier said than done. Okay? So they put the young stallion, Mexican stallion, up against one of Japan's finest. And the night kicks off. Let me read some of your chats before I get into this. Frontline, how you doing in the building? So Thank you. You can join us. Wait a minute. Wait. What was the weight difference between Floyd and Tinchi? Which Floyd? Floyd Mayweather or Floyd Schofield? Because you know the phony Floyd, and nowadays you're gonna have to say which one, because I'm not gonna know what were you know. Because Floyd Mayweather started his career at 130 pounds. And he won his first world title at 130. And Tashini, they're fighting much lower. They're 115, 118. Junto Nakatani, in fact, started his career at 104, the 105 division. That's the smallest weight division in all of boxing. He started in a division lighter, one lighter than MJ and Inoue. MJ and Inoue started his career at 108, and Junto started his at 104. Junto is a 3-division world champion right now. He's won belts in 112 pounds, 115, and 118. Junto, he's a 3-division world champion. He's going to try to unify, as you can see, his one of the Japanese, his Japanese brother, is a world champion at 118. In fact, all major belts at 118 are owned by Japanese fighters. He enters the ring. Yo, peep game, everybody. I want you to notice this. That when a Japanese fighter wants to fight and challenge another Japanese fighter, when he entered the ring, how did he greet Junto Nakatani? With a bow. Hello. They both bowed, respect each other. A smile came over Junto's face. He said, yeah, how you doing? And the other dude said, thank you. And he said, I want to fight you. And Junto said, I welcome it. They looked at each other, bowed, smiled. He appreciated the moment. All respect got his attention. Not like us. Not like us. We'll get in the ring. Yo, motherfucker, I want to knock you out, punk bitch. What? I fucked your girl. How embarrassing that you got to do this drama act to try to sell your fight. Because you can't go in the ring and respect the champion and respectfully say, I would like to fight. What is wrong with that? The way they get down, the way listen, we are night and day. We are night and day. We don't show each other respect. We shit on our other fighters. You can have class and still kick ass. My man hopped in the ring and was like, yo. And Junto said, I welcome it. I want to unify at 118. Which answers some questions, which, you know, what's the future look like? Right? Will Junto Nakatani move up? When he fought David a few days ago, that was his tallest fighter he ever fought in the young man. Let me break down their fight. As they were, as the bell kicked off, and I wanted to see what this young man looked against Junto. Right away, it did not take Junto long to figure him out, right? And David was doing okay. The one thing I didn't like, his footwork. His right leg drags. His left leg and his right leg are not in rhythm. Go watch the fight. You'll see what I'm talking about. It he doesn't either something's wrong with his right leg. Yo, it doesn't move right. It doesn't move right. I'm not sure if he got into an accident or something, but he doesn't have the evading ability to get away out of Junto's punches. He was just going forward and he stood there, and when he would move, he would step well with the left foot. He would go step, and then the right foot wouldn't lift off the ground as much. It didn't seem to have like that hop to it. And I found that I was like, he couldn't get out of his way. And Junto picked him apart. He picked him apart. You know, for being a young fighter and being dropped in the first time in your career, a lot of things may go through your head, and one of them in particular are how hurt you really are in the situation. You probably say to yourself, how the fuck did I get down here? And why is that guy counting in front of me? You realize, oh shit, I've been dropped. And you got to gather yourself. Depending how hurt you are will determine the outcome. He was pretty buzzed. Junto is relentless. Once he's like a shark in the water, once one drop of blood, he's on you. He has an amazing, really high finishing rate. Once he has you hurt, he's going in for the kill. I did see in the fight where Junto got hit a little. He got hit a little bit. I was like, man, he can't get hit like that by Naoya. A fighter like that, like a sharpshooter and a power puncher, and the accuracy that Naoya Inoue has. Junto still has to work on a couple things. Is he ready for a fighter such as Naoya Inoue? As far as Junto as a fighter, I would put him in with Naoya Inoue. Absolutely. Even if he moved up to fight him at 122, yes, I would put him in with Naoya Inoue. Whether or not he was ready, we would see that on fight night, wouldn't we? My opinion on what I think both fighters could bring to the table or would be just my opinion. That is something actually I would have to see. Both men very skilled. Although I still on the line that Naoya Inoue is slightly above Junto when it comes to boxing stuff. Although Junto is smart, crafty, powerful, fast, fine. That's not what makes Naoya Inoue special. He has all that I just mentioned. He has that all too. But he's much more. He's a very calculated, driven Japanese fighter. And he's typically a step or two ahead of all opponents. The one thing that Naoya Inoue does really good is make boxing reads. His ring IQ is exceptionally high, meaning you can't do the same thing in front of him and get away with it. He's going to make the read. And if you think all boxers make reads, you would be sadly mistaken. There's only the elite boxers in the game. Sometimes there's guys that can make perfect reads. They just don't got the skill to pull it off, unfortunately. But as far as fighters being this high, that's what separates them from just average fighters. He's going to pick up on the things that Junto is doing. And I've explained this before. Sometimes I've been in a fight or one or two. I've been in one or two fights in my life. And in the fight, as I'm walking away, or maybe it was in the ring, or, you know, someone would ask me, yo, man, you did great. Remember when you did this? And I'm looking at them and I don't remember shit. I don't remember anything I did. Usually, typically, I'll turn around and I'll look at my brother and I'll be like, yo, how'd I do? He'll tell me real quick. You did this, and this. Because I won't remember. I must like black out and go into a zone. I don't know what happens, but all I know is the guy's on the ground, and when I snap out of it, I'm like, okay, I won, I guess. Right? It's a little more than that to it, but it's kind of like what it is when they asked Junto after the fight, what do you think about your performance? He was like, I don't remember. I don't remember. Same thing, Naoya Inoue. Many fighters, many of the great, it's just a fighting zone. I don't have any other way to explain it. You know, you go into a fight and you just, I snap into warrior mode, I guess. That's the best definition I can give you. And then by time, you get out of it, you're like, oh, but that's how hyper focused some of these fighters are. Junto is very good. He has a very great jab. He has good pressure. And if he has you hurt, oh, he's going to try to finish you. If he was to have Naoya Inoue hurt, that would be a tough assignment for Naoya Inoue to survive. But as you can see in some fights, like the earlier fight where both gentlemen dropped each other in the ninth round, so he dropped him, and then all of a sudden he's hyped up, and then he drops him. So I've seen that too in a fight. Let me answer some of y'all questions here. Mr. Miyagi, how you doing, brother? Glad to see you. Glad you could join in. I wanted to make sure I did a channel roughly around the time. So what is it out there now? 10 o'clock at night? Something like that? Shit, it might be towards 11. Going on 12. Jeez. I try to do it early enough for you, Mr. Miyagi, man, because I always respect your comments and your contribution to the channel. And I always like to chop it up with guys that know boxing. And every one of you that join in here, from Frontline to everyone that's in the chat right now, thank you for tuning in, because we love to talk boxing here at Round One Sports Talk and also educate each other. So if you see something I say, don't take it like I can't take constructive criticism. I'm here to learn and educate, just like you guys are tuning in. You guys are my boxing community, my boxing eyes and ears. Whenever you guys hear something, bring it to me so that I can look it up, so that we can teach and keep this sport of boxing prestigious and alive. This is what we're doing it for. Great fights. And this right here was an amazing card out there in Japan. Congratulations to them for having a good night in boxing. All the fights, I encourage you guys. They have it on ESPN Plus. That's what I have a subscription to. But the fights were on ESPN. They were early morning fights, so you can catch up to these fights. We're going to be coming into the Tank Davis fight March 1st. Also, Subriel Matias fights on March 1st. So we're going to be talking about that as the week is leading out. I just wanted to address some of these guys at the lower weight division. They are truly lightning in a bottle. Amazing, amazing divisions. I know it's not the glamour divisions like the 130, 135, 140, and etc. But make no mistake, these guys are warriors. They put on great fights, good cards. There was a lot of action. A lot of action. So, my man jumps in the ring. He wants to unify with Junto Nakatani, right? And Nashir Na Nashira. I'm sorry if I'm messing up his name. But that's the gentleman that has the other belt at 118. I'm trying to think of his name in my head and say it the correct way because I respect these fighters, and so Junto right now, he wants to unify, right? He's already a 3 division world champion, and what this means is he at least wants to try to mirror his countryman Naoya Inoue. See, a lot of people want to put the cart before the horse. And what in fact ends up happening is a lot of us start dreaming and saying things that might not be so. You know, oh shit, Junto can beat Naoya Inoue. Whoa, pump your brakes. Slow down, Tanto. All right? Out of respect, and just purely out of respect, because Naoya Inoue is the greatest Japanese fighter in history. In history. I'm sorry, LeBron James, but unless you can do Michael Jordan shit, can't put you there. Right? And I'm not calling Junto LeBron. Right? What I'm using it as, unfortunately, you're going to have to do some shit. You're going to have to get some belts. You're going to have to clean out divisions and do exactly what you're doing. Junto is on course and on pace to try to unify, whether or not the other Japanese fighters sign up to fight him. We'll see. One hopped in the ring. They got a handshake, a nod. I believe that fight's going to happen. So that would be good. That would add to the legacy and the career that is Junto Nakatani. So that would add to him. Now, as far as a fight versus Naoya Inoue, I'm not going to bet against them. Nah. If they were to fight tomorrow, I got Naoya Inoue. If they fight tomorrow. I think Junto's good, man. He's great. He's powerful. He's tall. He has everything that you would look to beat Naoya Inoue. And I'm in agreement with that. I think if anybody can beat Naoya Inoue, it would be that guy, Junto. I just don't think he's ready for him. Not just yet. Will he? Yeah. At the rate he's moving, yeah. Yeah, he's going to be ready for him. There's just a slight, subtle things. And Naoya Inoue, the problem is he's not slowing down. He's really not giving Junto enough opportunity to actually catch him. As Junto gets better, Naoya Inoue also gets better. Every time I see that man out, he's adding new things to his arsenal, approaches the fight an entirely different way. He's always using different weapons to take you out, whether it's the body shot, the uppercut, the overhand right, left check hook. He's knocking guys out in different ways. And he's beating guys in their own game. Naoya Inoue can adapt to your style. He's incredible fast off that front step. That first step that Naoya Inoue has is frightening. That you don't know which way he's gonna go. See, typically you're taught that you want your foot on the outside, right? So that you can get a better angle and you'll have the advantage in the punch so that the combinations end up on your favor because your foot is on the outside. With Naoya Inoue, this mofo on purpose steps in the inside. He's so good and so sharp that he's not, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. It's like a dude playing handball that runs up to the line and he's right. He's in the fire. And Naoya Inoue's first step, it's crazy. It's crazy. When he fights boxers, he's more effective. When you got like a wild kind of fight on unorthodox style of approach of a fight, um, Marlon Tapales had Naoya Inoue thinking for a few rounds. Every round he started to come in out, he started to switch up his approach. Like if he came out in the first round like this, the second he came out with his hands down like this. The third he came out like this. The fourth he came out like this. And Naoya was like, okay, he started to read him. But what happens in the fight, and typically when you're in a professional fight where you have time to break shit down kind of in your head, what happened was when Naoya Inoue would check his style, meaning when you got a boxing style, you got an offense, you got a defense, and you flow. Errol Spence Jr. has a certain style to him. And although you know what style he's going to come out, you can't stop it, right? Okay. So what happens is when you flow with it and I try to attack you, you're quickly going to go into your defense, whatever style it is. When Naoya Inoue started to check Marlon Tapales' style, each time he wasn't defending the correct way. Meaning, oh, you're making that shit up on the fly. You don't really have a style. What Marlon Tapales was doing was improvising. That's completely different than a style you flow in. And when Naoya Inoue figured out, motherfucker, all you doing is improvising. If I do this, you're just reacting. I can fake you out on a react. And he started doubling up on his shots. Like if he threw the right, he would throw the right again. Because he didn't know how to maintain his bluff. Marlon Tapales, he didn't know how to maintain it. He was just doing shit. And Naoya Inoue figured that out. He said, oh, you just react, motherfucker. Bah, bah, bah. And he punched through his guard and put him down, sat him down. Marlon Tapales is a tough guy. He took his fair shots in that fight. And, kudos to him. Amanda, how you doing in the building? Thank you for the support. Josh, who was saying, what? Joseph was saying, okay, I missed you. Junto is going to start making moves in the 118 this year. Yeah, he's going to start making moves. And then you said almost 10, 5-2. You have to disagree. Junto's not on Naoya Inoue's level. I didn't say he was. Maybe I was talking and you were thinking I was going down that road, and then I answered it. I hope I did answer it. John, Junto's not ready for him. Yeah, nah, he's not. Not now. Not now. Not now. He just has these certain things and the way he positions his hands. Because I don't know if it's because he's tall and his arms are like, Naoya Inoue would go through that like a fucking Sunday morning stroll. Yeah. But he tightens up too. It was like he corrected himself when he got touched, but and then it wouldn't last. He would he would get lost in his flow and he'd divert right back to that same mistake. You got to be mentally all 36 minutes against Naoya Inoue. At any point in the fight, he's proven his power carries all 12 rounds. He's got knockouts, late rounds, 10th round knockouts. His power translates. So you're going to have to be alert. You're going to have to be able to pull that off for 36 minutes. I don't think he can do it, Junto. And the fact that no fighter is really taking him the distance, he doesn't have a lot of late fighting experience. No, I mean, no due in part to him knocking these guys out. But you're going to need 12 rounds experience. And I think a lot of fights, must mislead some people sometimes when Naoya allows these guys to stick around. One, he's giving the fans their money worth. He's getting some work in. Then he puts them away. And the first half of Naoya Inoue's career, he was a true monster. He still is, right? But he was knocking people out and his dad was like, yo, homeboy, chill out. Okay, you can knock these guys out. Can I get a couple rounds out of you, Naoya Inoue? Can I get some rounds? Because we need some work. Stop knocking these guys out. His dad was like, chill out. Okay, you can knock them out, son, right? So Naoya Inoue was boxing some of these Japanese guys, and then he got into a situation where he got hurt. His dad was like, okay, no more boxing, knock him out. Luis Pantera Nari, right? I mean, hey, you want your boxer to get some rounds in, and there becomes a point in time where you're just like, yo, all right, if you feel you can knock him out, cool. Let me see some of your boxing skills and show the world a little bit of what you can do. I believe there's situations where boxers find themselves, hard punchers, knockout artists, find themselves in those kinds of situations. And Junto is in one, in fact, right now. And that's no fault of his own. I mean, he's doing what he's trained to do, knock your head off, right? But you also want to see if your fighter can go the distance. And how is his cardio going to hold up? Does that do something to your fighter, in fact? Meaning, sometimes people fall in love with the knockout and they start training a little less, staying in the party a little longer. Why? I can just knock this guy out. I'll just go in there, knock him out. I'll be back. Guys can fall in love with the knockout. I see it happen all the time in boxing. It's up to you to stay disciplined. What's up, Mr. Miyagi? How you doing? What are you saying? Oh, wait. Oh, I got the messages up. Okay. Thank you, brother. All right. If I don't think that Junto Nakatani stands a chance, here we go. Here's our troll of the day. How you doing, troll? We'll entertain you today, right? Check this out. Look at this guy. So, how do you talk about your favorite fighter? And what if somebody walked up on you and said you were glazing over the fighter that you in particularly liked or support? Obviously, I'm supporting today's topic is Junto Nakatani. Somehow, in your weird mind, talking about a future fight between two great fighters irritates you. They must not be your ethnicity, huh? You must want to be those guys. And just because people like certain styles or different weight division, it must bother you that we don't agree with you or like your fighter. So When people are different, that's what bothers you? Because talking about a particular fighter, that's all you're doing. Don't you talk about your favorite fighter? So when you're talking about your favorite fighter, it's not glazing. But when a person's talking about their favorite fighter, you turn into a hater. I get it. You don't show respect or any acknowledgement to competition. You only respect what you respect, and you only see what you see. Yeah, they have streets named after people like you. One way. And I invite you to stay here and watch the channel. But if all you like is controversy and debate, you might be on the wrong channel. They have more ignorant channels over there where they cuss and swear and disrespect each other to get views and likes. Unfortunately, this is an educational boxing program, so you might be in the wrong place. If all you like are drama queens, you might want to go to those other channels, unfortunately. So, let's talk about real sports and real boxing knowledge, real boxing talk, where we can like all boxers. Because any man who laces them up in the ring got my respect. Can I be a critical to a fighter? I'm critical on a lot of fighters. I call a lot of fighters out on certain boxing situations and opportunities. But is any boxer that I don't like, any boxer I feel that sucks, I haven't met one yet. I don't care if you get knocked out 100 times. That's 100 times you had the balls to get in the ring. You got my respect. You might not be the most skilled, but you got my respect. As a fighter, situations and why people don't fight each other, I can be critical. But when a person doesn't have the capacity to understand when someone's being critical or judgmental, you can't, it says it clearly in the Bible, you can't argue with a fool. Because if you keep doing that, you're going to become that. Drama queens are drama queens. They have specific channels for that. You know? But as far in the sport of competition, I don't think Naoya Inoue right now and Junto should fight. I think what Junto is doing right now and the decision he made to stay at 118 to unify, that's the right decision. That's what Naoya Inoue did. That's what Junto can do. And I heard it in his voice. He has future plans. I think he's going to chase down Naoya Inoue. I think that's where he ends up. Because they're from Japan. There could be no greater feeling. And in my mind, I'm a warrior, right? There can only be one. I'm sorry. There can only be one. I'm not walking around Japan. They're calling me the second best fighter. And I think I got the skills to be the best fighter. Bro, you can't walk around here with me, man. We're going to have to fight. That's it. There's no way I'm walking down the street with you every day, not even for an hour. That's me anyway. I wouldn't let it go an hour, right? We ain't living in the same neighborhood, bro. Nah. We ain't walking down the same street. Ain't gonna be, I'm going to attack you. I don't have to tell you I'm going to attack you. You don't have to worry about me attacking you. As soon as I see you, you're going to find out because you're going to realize I am fucking attacking you. It's just, I'm not going to be called number two. No. No. Uh-uh. Nope. I can't. And I can't do that. I can't. I can't do it. Knowing I'm that good, that skilled, I'm putting myself as Junto. If I had those kind of skills and I was knocking people, the hell no, I can't walk around Japan like that. No, we gotta fight, bro. But I want him to be at the best he can be. And truthfully, I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm looking for in a fight. Naoya Inoue is still a level above Junto. That's clear as day. That is clear as day. You know, he still has, like, if you put him in the ring tomorrow, Junto will fight him. Of course. Junto is not scared of Naoya Inoue. And there's no way you could tell me that. He would fight him if he had to. I just want him to be better. I want the best version of Junto. I don't think we're there yet. Even he's this good, I think he has potential to be better. That much better. And that's all I want. I want a real good shot at beating Naoya Inoue. I love Naoya Inoue, but I love competition, guys. What fun is it if he's just beating everybody, guys? Let's be honest. Let's get somebody that could fucking fight him, man. I want to see that kind of fight. You know, you work all your life to get to this point, and on that night, everything you train for, everything you work for comes into play on that night. And those are the kind of fights I live for, man. You know that Marvelous Hagler versus Hitman Hearns type shit. And it really lives up to the night. You know, I've seen some amazing fights in my days. And great competition fights, real close fights, and some fights you thought were going to go one way and it was just a one-sided event. And I think that division down there from 115 to 122 is hot right now. You got fighters like Bam Bam Rodriguez, Junto Nakatani right now. Both fighters are looking to unify. And we're talking about Junto like he's moving up, trying to fight Naoya Inoue. Watch out that Bam Bam doesn't come up and try to challenge Junto Nakatani. Because just like Naoya Inoue has a target on his back, Junto has a target on his back. And there are people behind Junto that are just as skilled. So you may think, oh, the only problem for Junto is Naoya. Bullshit. Because Bam Bam Rodriguez is one division behind him. Let Bam Bam Rodriguez jump up. And we'll see what these Japanese dudes do against that Mexican kid. Let's find out. I'll put Bam Rodriguez against all the Japanese guys at 118. Every one of them. Yeah. Bam Rodriguez is nice. And he's got the skills. He's got the punching power. He's got the technique. Everything. I wouldn't be scared to put Bam in against any of them dudes. And Mr. Miyagi, what up, baby? With the 5-piece showing the love. Let me throw your super chat up on the board. We all want to see another Durant. One first fight again. But who is he? What weight? And where does he come from? Who would give him and what weight? 126. Mr. Miyagi. I think the biggest challenge is going to come from 126. I mean, you know, who is he? What division? Where do they come from? The 126-pound weight division. You got fighters like Angelo Leo. You got fighters like Stephen Kubo Fulton that recently just become the WBC World Champion by beating Brandon Figueroa. Now, those are interesting fights because those can be rematch fights. As we all know, Stephen Kubo Fulton went out to Japan to let me put that up. I want to keep that up anyway because and he went out to Japan to fight Naoya Inoue, right? And got destroyed. I don't think Stephen Kubo Fulton won one round. He was undefeated and he was a unified world champion. Naoya Inoue was moving up in a division, which I want you guys to know that Junto Nakatani is a 3-division world champion. And when he made the transition to move up, I think it was from the 112 to the 115, he fought Santiago for a tune-up fight to get acclimated to the division before he fought for a world title fight. The difference between Junto and Naoya Inoue used the champion as a stepping stone. He used him as a tune-up fight. Naoya Inoue was jumping up from 118 to 122. They said, Naoya Inoue, you're jumping up a weight division. Take a tune-up fight. He said, yeah, give me the best champion you have at 122. That'll be my tune-up fight right there. What you guys are considering your best, I'm saying all he is a tune-up fight. Everybody thought he was cocky. He wasn't cocky. He was just telling the truth. He was just telling the truth. I am ready for Stephen Kubo Fulton, and I don't know what you guys see, but he is not on my level. And although the Americans, Philadelphia fighter, the rich history. Well, you know what? Philly does have a rich history in fighting. That's not going to fight for you. Just because you're from Philadelphia, what is that, award? Oh, I lost. Oh, shit, you should have said he was from Philly. The fuck does that mean? Yeah, he's from Japan. He's about to introduce you to his fist. And he did. Stephen Kubo Fulton said, you're going to pay me the $3 million plus I got to go out to Japan and beat this guy, smaller guy, moving up to my weight division. Do you guys know that I'm undefeated and I am a unified world champion? I have 2 belts. He got destroyed. Completely destroyed. He was outclassed, outmatched. Now, Naoya Inoue goes up to 126. There he is again. And he has what Naoya Inoue wants. The belt. Will Stephen Kubo Fulton fight him? Will he confront his fears? Not every man is eager to sign up to take that kind of ass whooping. Naoya Inoue humbled Stephen Kubo Fulton. And to that point, he's probably walking around the neighborhood arrogant as fuck. I'm undefeated. I can't be beat. You know who I am? Stephen Kubo Fulton. And Naoya Inoue, the kind of ass whooping he gave him, that was a humbling ass whooping. Then he knocked him out. He stopped him. So, I like the potential matchups at 126 rather than him staying at 122. David Picasso is a worthy opponent. When this guy says, if I don't want to see Junto right now fight Naoya Inoue, it's because I want Junto to get better. I want a better matchup. I want better competition. Because I think he's ready. I just want him to get better. But David Picasso is worthy. He's undefeated. That means if Naoya Inoue beats him, he takes away his O. He has something. He doesn't know how to lose. He's the #1 contender for the WBC. Which, these haters that said that Naoya Inoue was ducking MJ, when MJ's hand was revealed to the world, and here at Round One Sports Talk, I broke it down for you. Was I correct? Yes or no? I told you MJ wasn't going to get the fight. And they were not going to strip Naoya Inoue. Why? WBA was never had any power. Wasn't their time, their place in line. I taught this to the other boxing channels. They had to go look it up, and they had to eat crow. They won't publicly come out and say it, but we all are witnessing it in real time. Where is MJ right now? And have you heard anything from him? Because if he comes out from whatever rock he's being hiding under, the boxing world will remind him, hey, why ain't you next man in line? And he would have to answer questions. He can only put his foot in his mouth so far before the entire world realizes, bro, you're bullshitting. It was a good bluff by Ed Hearn and MJ. And for 10 seconds, he had the boxing world thinking that such a fighter like Naoya Inoue, such a decorated, accomplished fighter with a knockout ratio like he has, I think he's knocked out his last 12 opponents straight. And his last 11 fights have all been for 2 belts or more. He's coming into his 25th consecutive world title fight in a row. So, for 10 minutes, Ed Hearn and MJ had the boxing world thinking that such a man was avoiding that guy. What was so special about MJ that even for 10 seconds made you think Naoya Inoue was ducking him at any moment? What told you he was ducking a guy like that? Let's think of the situation. You lost. You have no belt. Naoya Inoue beat the guy that beat you for your belt. And Naoya Inoue, in fact, already has your alleged belt. You fought a guy ranked number 88 and a guy ranked 58. Where in that equation tells you Naoya Inoue would be scared of him? Who did he beat? Who did he knock out? Where is the pressure? Does he have, like, you know, when a guy's so good and avoided in a division, they start to give him nicknames like the Boogeyman. Has MJ ever been called the Boogeyman in that division? Ever? Has anybody ever been scared of him? I don't understand, and I can't fathom at what point do I believe Naoya Inoue was ever trying to avoid you. Why was he avoiding you? What skills, what makes me think he can beat Naoya Inoue? These guys hate on Naoya Inoue so much, in fact, they don't like him so much that they're willing just to push the narrative he's ducking MJ just to try to discredit the greatness that is Naoya Inoue. Typically, it's because he's that much better than their favorite fighter. And Naoya Inoue is their favorite fighter's favorite fighter. So, since they can't beat him in the ring, the only thing that haters can do are make cheap punchlines, small accusations, and point fingers, but none of that is beating him. And their guy, their fighter, whoever they support, couldn't hold Naoya Inoue's jockstrap in the gym. You'd have to smack it out of his hand. You're not worthy. Because no fighter that they like can even come close to the credentials that Naoya Inoue has. and the accomplishments he's accomplished in his sport. And when they're in the same sport, what did their guy do? And I mean, it's not even close. Not even close. And you know what most people would have to do? Dick ride and try to say they like Terrence Crawford. And then I've already done that like 10 times on my show. And I proved to you that not even Terrence Crawford can touch this guy. And Terrence Crawford is the closest. He's got like 19 consecutive world title fights. Terrence. But Naoya Inoue got 25. Terrence Crawford unified his belts in 147 in 5 years. Naoya Inoue did it in 6 months. Took Terrence Crawford almost 7 years to unify in both divisions. It took Naoya Inoue 1 year. He blows him out of the water. So if Terrence Crawford can't mirror Naoya Inoue, what other fighter is there? Usyk, he's not even in the conversation. He's not even in the conversation. I can't even put Usyk on a pound-for-pound list because he's the fucking king of boxing. You don't put a king on the list. We talked about this. When you judge Usyk, you only judge him for the heavyweight division. You don't judge Usyk based off skill against the rest of the division. That's impossible. You can never do that. There's no heavyweight on planet or ever existed, even the great Ali, that looked like fighters at 130, 135, 140, 147. There's no heavyweight in the world that looked like Sugar Ray Leonard. There's no heavyweight in the world that had more skills than Floyd Mayweather. That don't exist. You can't compare a heavyweight guy's skills versus these guys. That's why they should really never be on a pound-for-pound list. Typically, why a heavyweight champion is put on a pound-for-pound list for popularity. To keep the heavyweight champion's name irrelevant, because boxing's doing so bad that we gotta put heavyweights on the pound-for-pound list now, because we can't afford to keep them out of the light, because boxing's not what it once was, like in the 80s. Back then, boxing was real popular. Mike Tyson was Mike Tyson. You didn't have to put Mike Tyson on pound-for-pound list. He was the fucking heavyweight champion of the world. But now, boxing is taking a hit so bad that you got to do these kind of ploys and put Usyk on a pound-for-pound list. It's absurd. That fucking just boils my skin. To even think of a king on a list, shit. What a disrespect to Usyk. You put me on a list with mortal men? I'm the fucking heavyweight champion of the world. What is that saying about my... If you put him third, what does that say about the heavyweight championship? That it can actually go underneath other... You see what they're doing? They're trying to move around the heavyweight belt. Like somehow, some way, the middleweight champion one day would be a more prestigious belt than heavyweight championship of the world. That's absurd. That should never even be in a conversation. Okay, why? All right. Tell Terrence Crawford to beat up Usyk. I'll be right here. Tell Naoya Inoue to knock out Usyk. I'll be right here. That's why. That's why. Because he has the most, that's the biggest belt. When the heavyweight champion of the world is supposed to walk in the room, that's the fucking heavyweight champion of the world. Back in the 70s, the 80s, early 90s, when the heavyweight fucking walked in the world, all the other champions salute him. You're the biggest, toughest man on the planet. We need to address you as such. Now, in this era, with all these kids and their participation trophies, ow, ow, and all the, well, we should be competing with, yo, everybody wants to be equal. Well, there is no equalness. They should know. The heavyweight champion is the heavyweight champion. That is freaking it, bro. That's it. That's it. There's no middleweight gonna be better than his. Naoya Inoue's belts are better than the heavy. No. Make the pound for pound list for these mortal men. And the heavyweight championship is reigns supreme. That's it. You can't put that belt in competition with other belts and put them on 4 or second or third. That's absurd. And you were never basing him off his skill. It's not like you're saying Usyk is more skilled than Terrence Crawford. At that point, we should just stop talking. Go to another channel. Because he's not on Terrence Crawford's level in no department. In none. Usyk's just a great heavyweight. And for the heavyweights, he's very skillful. For those size guys. That's all. He's a very skilled heavyweight. Yes, he is. He's no Terrence Crawford. Hell no, he doesn't move like Terrence. Are you kidding me? So if you can't compete him by skill, what are you judging Usyk against Terrence Crawford and Naoya Inoue? Why do you have him at number 1? Because of his accomplishments? See how they start to move the goalposts? Your accomplishments or how many belts you got was never on a pound for pound conversation. You shouldn't be awarded pound for pound status because you moved up in weight when pound for pound has nothing to do with that. Pound for pound is merely a phrase that we put together to say skill for skill. Skill for skill don't sound better than pound for pound. But anybody that reports and says pound for pound means you move up through weight divisions, that's a crock of shit. You shouldn't listen to those kind of people anymore. Because if they can't explain why the real pound for pound list is 4, and their definition is, oh, he moved up through weight divisions, then explain this to me. How does a guy that fought his entire career in one weight division be put on the pound for pound list? I'll be right here. They don't got an answer for that. It has nothing to do with you moving throughout weight divisions. Pound for pound means that just because my guy is small, pound for pound, he'll beat any fighter, his size, any skill, any style, lefty, righty, orthodox, brawler, punching, technician, fundamentally sound, all the way around. That's pound for pound. That's the true definition of pound for pound. Throughout the years, people have lowered the bar in order to get their fighter in the conversation. They twisted the meaning. Oh no, he went up through multiple divisions. I'm scratching my head saying, how is that even an argument when those are not the qualifications? People change it. They change the rules and they change the scenario in order to get their fighter next to a great one. When their fighter can't pull it off by himself. These are the things they have to do. No, well, he got belts in this division, that division. The fuck this belt's got to do with skills? How many belts you got? It's not in the argument. You could have 500 belts. You could have one. The guy that has one, if he's a complete fighter, and that guy that got 500 been fighting 500 cab drivers, then he has a padded record. And this guy is the true more skilled fighter. I've seen that all day in boxing. So you can't convince me because he had all these belts, and then Golovkin should be the greatest fighter in the world. Come on, guys. I know you guys are smarter than that. I've seen padded records before. I've seen champions moved along in their career, fighting this guy, that guy, vacant belt, make them look good. I've seen that. That doesn't make you the best fighter in the world. Your skills, bro. What'd you do against these fighters? How'd you fare? That's pound for pound shit right there. 100%. But, here at Round One Sports Talk, I can only bring you the truth. What does qualifications that every other channel wants to put up? That's on them. Everybody has a pound for pound list, and everybody has their own rules and structures of why you should be on the list. And then they go into this big spill of explaining it. I just merely tell you the truth. What it was truly based off. Skill. Not divisions, not belts, none of that shit. And who gives a fuck who the hell the 9th pound for pound fighter in the world is? The 10th guy, the 7th guy. You're just describing a great fighter. I always told you guys that. Should be 5 pound for pound fighters in the world. The 3 on top, 2 threatening. Because in order to get on a list like that, you got to make that list so prestigious that men have to strive to get on a list like that. You make it 10. Practically anybody can get on that list. Shit, Saul's lived on that list for I don't know how long. Saul Canelo Alvarez. And at one point in time, he belonged on it. At one point in time. He slipped a little bit, and rightfully so, he should be off. He had his time, his glory, and there was a point in time I believe Saul deserved to be on it. Not now so much. I think a lot of boxing is moving on, and that's what happens. There's a lot of great fighters. They were talking about putting Junto on the list as 9th or 10th. And I was saying Junto don't belong on that list. You could take that 9th spot and rub it on your chest. Junto's better than that. He's better than that. I wouldn't allow that to concern me. Oh, thank you. Gave me 9th spot. The 9th spot is not what I'm aiming for. Who cares about the 9th spot? Junto's like, 9th spot? I'm trying to get number 1. Thank you for alerting me that you put me on the 9th spot. But that's not where I want to be. I'm going for number 1. That's where Junto wants to go. So all that 9th talk, he don't care about that shit. It's not the conversation he wants to be in. He's going that way. And Junto will be ranked higher later in his career, I believe. He's a fucking amazing fighter. He's good. Just maybe Naoya Inoue might retire before Junto achieves enough to get next to him. Possibility we won't get that fight. There's a possibility. There's more likelihood that we'll get Bam Rodriguez versus Junto than Junto versus Naoya Inoue. Maybe. Because as soon as I said that, I said, wait a minute, Bob Arum loves fucking Junto. And Bob Arum, if Junto can wake up tomorrow and say, I want that fight, and Bob Arum will put it together like that. So I got to take that back. It's just up to these fighters. It really is. Yo, what'd you guys think about the Conor Ben and Chris Eubank? He smacked him with an egg. When I first saw the smack, I thought it was just a smack. Then when the guy was like, he smacked him with an egg, I was like, an egg? It took me a few seconds for it to register and for it to click. I was like, why would he smack him with an egg? Conor Ben already tested positive, and his excuse was he ate eggs. Oh, I was like, yeah. He smacked him with an egg because, first of all, Conor Ben, you're an egghead, right? Right? And that was his excuse, that he ate contaminated eggs. and he tested positive for a banned substance, right? So he put an egg in his hand and he smacked him with the egg. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but Mr. Miyagi, you know what I'm talking about, right? The excuse and what Chris Eubank was doing in reference of smacking him with the egg. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's just that I guess he was like, if you ate contaminated eggs, well, here's a contaminated egg for you. You know, that was his excuse. And we all knew that was an excuse from Connor Ben. I ate contaminated eggs, and you know, that's why I popped dirty. I believe he was acquitted for it. I didn't watch the weigh-in, or I mean, that wasn't a weigh-in. That was just a pre-interview leading into the fight. That's what that was. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I was actually doing a live on one of my boys' thing I was on yesterday, Claymore. I was on there with them, and the news broke while we were on the live, and they were like, "Yo, Chris Eubank just smacked the shit out of Connor Ben." So we all kind of watched it there. I had no idea he smacked him with an egg at that point. They had said it. I was just like, he kept saying it. He smacked him with an egg, and I'm like, no, it just looks like he open hand smacked him. I don't see no egg, because he went crazy in the guards. You couldn't see the side of his face. But the people that were there, then you see Ed Hearn's reaction. You see Ed, he ain't never been in a fight in his life, Ed Hearn. I can guarantee that. And if he did, he got beat up, right? For a man that's been around the fight game that long, you see that much blood, that you shouldn't react like that. I'm not. I guess if you're not taking place in the fighting, sometimes maybe fights will shock you. When I don't know, but once I started seeing dudes get knocked out, been in a couple fights myself. If I see a fight break out, basically just stand there like I'm eating popcorn. I'm just let me watch the fight. Don't break it up. Don't let's see how they do. Let's see. Let's find out. And I'm more like that, right? Ed Hearn, like he went like he got a big reaction. Like he was like, oh, like he ain't never seen no shit like that before. Or never expect somebody to get smacked on a weigh-in. Ed Hearn. You've seen that hundreds of times, my man. And that shit fucking surprises him every time, right? But yeah, I found out later he smacked him with an egg, contaminated egg. Now Conor Ben is dirty again. I say test him. He had egg on him. You know what I mean? He's dirty. Tell you guys the truth. I might have not watched that fight until the smack. It's gonna be an early fight. And I believe we got fights later on that night. So if I was gonna watch it, I probably would have watched it by myself and then cover it at night, so to speak. Uh, or I'm gonna try to like do an afternoon show and a night show. Probably be the same show, kind of, but it'll be to recap and catch my night guys and my early guys. So we're gonna be figuring things like that. I know I tried to put a lot of things together in the past, and not everything works out the way you want it to work out, but always with a learning curve. And I'm always, if this doesn't work, that's okay. We'll try something else. Ne- Never failure, no retreat, no surrender. We're going to put on a show. We're going to put on a show. We're going to find a way. We're going to get it done here at Round One Sports Talk each and every time for the fans, for you guys. So let me see what you guys got to say. He had like 5 eggs in his Gucci jacket everywhere, so that whichever situation it came out, he was gonna smack him. Where he had it all planned out. Yo, Tua said that's a bullshit egg. What? Listen, fighters will say the darnest things. Remember Saul Canelo Alvarez tested positive out there in Mexico, and he said he ate contaminated Mexican meat. Remember that? You guys remember that? I mean, if you hear I one time there's a girl boxer. I forget her name, but if any of you guys can remember her name or know this story, she tested positive for a banned substance, and she said she got it from her boyfriend ejaculating inside of her, and her boyfriend uses that PE, and that's why she was dirty. Can you believe that? Boxers have said that when Saul came out with that excuse, contaminated meat in Mexico, they did go down to the Mexico meat, and that's one of the steroids that they put in the cows, I guess, to get the cows to produce more or whatever. So the meat, it was contaminated. Here's the problem with Saul's lie. You mean to tell me that you're a multi-million-dollar boxer and you eat corner store bodega meat? Don't you got a chef that orders your meat, that they come packaged in little ice boxes like all the other rich people do? Their meats are imported, the finest meats in the world. You're a $1 million dude and you're eating corner store meat? Yeah, right, Saul. You found a loophole. You saw that one fighter got tested positive and stumbled upon to that idea. You merely try to attach yourself to that. Because I don't think Saul Canelo Alvarez is eating bodega meat. I don't buy it. He's got a nutritionist, a chef, a cook. He's one of the highest paid boxers in all of boxing, but you're eating tainted meat? I don't buy it. I don't think Conor Benn ate some eggs and came dirty. Nope. I don't have any proof of none of this. And since Conor Benn allegedly has been acquitted of the charges, that's not so. That can't be further from the truth. I don't care how Conor Benn paints it up for you guys, right? That's not what happened. Conor Benn is going around on this campaign saying they found me innocent 3 times or whatever, and I don't care what anybody else says type shit. I saw him on a couple interviews a few months ago, way back when he allegedly got acquitted and got back to boxing. No, that's not what that means. What happened was the Boxing Athletic Committee deemed that the time that he did on suspension was enough, and they knocked off the rest of his suspension. That doesn't mean they acquitted you. The decision was the decision. And no matter if they shortened your sentence, that doesn't mean you're innocent. But he's running around telling the people, no, they found me innocent. No, they didn't. You served out the majority of that suspension. It's not like you were convicted in a criminal case and they found evidence and released you. Now they dropped the charges. They didn't do that in your case. They just said the amount of time you served, okay, we're cool with that. We're gonna uplift the rest of your time on your suspension. You're free to go. And he's taking that and he's running with it and saying, I'm innocent. They found that what I brought to their table and the excuse I gave them at the end, they said, okay, and lifted the rest of my time. No, you're still guilty. No, you're still guilty. So Conor Benn can say what he wants. Saul can say what he wants. But the one thing that I noticed, they're still on the cheater registry for men and women that tested positive in a sport for a banned substance. Both their names never got removed off the list. So how the fuck did you get acquitted? I'll let that sink in for a second. So, amazing fights. We got Gervonta Davis coming up too as well. And I said amazing fights for these Japanese card. Then we got the Gervonta Davis fight. I'm not so sure that's going to be as amazing. I have belief that Gervonta Davis is going to show up and do Gervonta Davis type shit. Meaning, he's going to knock out Lamont Roach. Yeah. And he's not going to get any credit for it. The boxing world has been very vocal on what they feel Gervonta's doing now. I think Gervonta's gotten to a point where he's starting to realize that he can't take these lackluster fights anymore. And the people are not just going to come out to support him. The PBC, they're really, they're disrupting a lot of things in boxing, the PBC. By them not working with Turki Al-Sheikh. And, if the PBC was doing such a great job and they were so good for boxing, why did they push away all these networks like Showtime and all these big networks that were coming into boxing? The PBC took all the money that they made and they really never put money back into the sport. Al Heyman, great businessman, but he was working with musicians, song artists, and he's more of like a entertainment kind of promoter. He's been in the sport of boxing for a very long time, but he has a more business type of mentality, and I'm really starting to see it in the last 10 years or so. Where that he has this mentality where that it's all just business. I don't really think he ever really truly loved the sport of boxing. He never gives back to boxing. Eventually, all his fighters end up leaving the stable. And a lot of brothers signed up with the PBC because they wanted to show black power, unity. And I thought it was a great thing. But a lot of brothers that went over there weren't treated fairly. They were like, we should have just stayed where we were. And there were sometimes Al Heyman overpaid fighters. There has been some instance that he put a lot of money in one fight and kind of messed it up. There he has been in fault for that, Al Heyman. But I always liked them. I always liked the PBC because they was always there at least. There was another entity, and I never had a problem with the brothers doing their own thing. Because shit, if I'll do the SPC or whatever, Spanish boxing, and if all the Spanish dudes came or Latin dudes came to my promotional, I would try to help them and make money and build up the sport with them, and I would think it was a beautiful thing. Japan guys can do that. Any race can do it. And as long as you were there for boxing. But over the years, the PBC, they've, as you can see, they didn't have the money to pay these fighters. Some of the fighters are going up abroad, going to fight, and now Heyman had to sign up on that because he doesn't have the money to pay these guys. Soon he's not going to have the money to pay Gervonta Davis, and that Prime deal fell through and they walked away from them. So I said all of that to say this. I think that Gervonta Tank Davis really needs to start thinking about Gervonta Tank Davis. I think that the PBC, they need to find their way, whether they're going to stay in boxing, stop playing with boxing. Al Heyman has done certain things, but not for the sport. He might have paid one or two guys. He might have did some good nights and good cards, of course. But the PBC went from 19 showings, 19 shows, 2000 and what was it? 2023, they had 19 shows. I believe in 2024, they had 5. How many shows have they put together so far? Now, they're just not active enough anymore, the PBC. All their major fighters, they lost. And Turkey Al-Sheikh took Saul Canelo Alvarez. Some people might have said Saul was, a guy that bounces around, and I don't think so. I don't think so. Rather than looking at the side that the PBC didn't have the money to keep him, and Turkey has the money to keep him. They would rather say, oh, no, Saul is not loyal to this guy. He jumped from here to there, this, that. No, Saul went where the bag was. If you had the money to pay him, well, then he was with you. I know that there's a big debacle with him and Golden Boy. I'm not going to get into that, but that's what it is. And I don't think that the PBC had the money to keep him. That's a difference. I think David the Monster Benavidez and fighters like Tank Davis really need to start to think about their future. And when you look at fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis, and there's an elephant in this room, all the brothers don't want to look at it, at the elephant, right? And the reason why it exposes this thing that Mayweather brought to the sport of boxing. Branch out and be your own boxing promoter. That's the elephant that's standing right there. Isn't Gervonta Tank Davis GTD? Doesn't he have his own boxing promotion company? Wasn't Gervonta Davis and fighters like Devin Haney, DHP Promotion, Tank Davis Promotion? What are you guys promoting? Yourself? That means you would have to pay for your own fight. Why isn't Tank Davis putting his own fight together? Where's his promotional company? That's all bullshit, fake. That shit didn't work, did it? With all these guys saying that they're free agents, but they always fight under a promotional banner. These guys are playing with boxing. And they're trying to give you the impression that they're the boss. Really, you're the boss. You have your own promotional company. Then why is it, Gervonta, you can't move unless Al Heyman says so? Why is it that you can't fight unless Al Heyman signs off on it? I thought you were your boss. Why is it that Devin Haney was looking to sign back up with Ed Hearn? Or with any of the other top boxing promoters? Why was Devin Haney going to Turkey Al-Sheikh? If these kids are their own promoter. Because that's bullshit. What Mayweather forgot to tell these kids, he had already taken risk. He's already made sacrifices. He already put himself in position, and he beat the men he needed to make himself that star before he came up with Mayweather Promotion. In fact, Mayweather Promotion has been around so long. Didn't he start Mayweather Promotion while he was an active fighter? How many fighters you know fought for that stable? How many fighters you know signed up and left? And how many fighters did Mayweather couldn't pay attention to these guys? He was out too busy reaping the reward of his labor. He didn't want to be a boxing promoter, but he tried to give back to the sport. He tried to get Leonard Ellaby to do it. And Mayweather's such a savage that all the work that Leonard Ellaby did, Mayweather just, he didn't treat him right. Leonard Ellaby had to leave. Mayweather, he's a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch, bro. He really is. I can't believe he did Leonard Ellaby like that. But, I mean, hey. I'm not in the room. I don't know why. I just heard stories. That's all. That's all. But Leonard Ellaby still has interest in Tank Davis. I believe he still has a thing to do with him, but none of these kids run shit. All that fake ass promotion talk with those chains. Look at my promotional company right here. They have done absolutely nothing. At least Errol Spence Jr., when he started his promotional company, at least he got a fighter like Frank Martin, and he actually put a fight together. You know what I mean? Errol Spence Jr. being a boxing promoter for like less than a year, right? He only has one fighter in his stable. He locks down the fucking lottery fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. Meanwhile, Top Rank, Ed Hearn, and all these guys with these huge promotional companies and all this networking couldn't get the Gervonta Davis fight. And here comes Errol Spence Jr. How many guys you got on your promoter team? One guy. He gets the fight. Go figure. But Gervonta Davis is fucking, why can't you put these fights together? Bro, Errol Spence Jr. proved that if you really wanted these fights, you could have got it done a long time ago. One of y'all motherfuckers is saying no. One of y'all is scared. So, somebody's saying no. Somebody lying. What's up, Frontline? What's up? I thought most top pros, boxers have. You know they do. For clean eating during training camp, but Saul's eating bodega meat, my man. Bullshit, right? Straight bullshit. I had to call bullshit on that one. I was like, come on, Saul. Stop it. You went into training camp and you were, oh, you got nutritionists, my man. Man, listen. We're taught, like, I got to a certain level in boxing, right? But I've been around a lot of pro fighters and a lot of gyms that I've been to, and I've seen some really good sparring matches in my day. But I've noticed this, and we've always done this. You can get out of the ring, be huffing and puffing, tired, sweating. You look down, there's a water bottle right there. Although you're fucking thirsty, I would not advise you to pick that water bottle up and say, yo, whose water bottle this is? And shh, let me get some water. We don't do that. Because I don't know what you put in that water bottle. And the problem is with the boxing athletic doping committee that they have already tried to fight so many people's excuses, lawyers, and some lawyers have swithered their client out of it when we knew he was guilty. So in today's time, in today's standard, the boxing doping committee deemed that if that's not your water bottle, don't pick it up. If you bought those pills from GMC or any corner vitamin store, well, the boxing world is telling you for free, ship us the pills that you're going to start taking. We will test them in our lab. We will send them back to you, right? And we'll allow you to know whether or not you can continue to take this, because nothing in them pills are on our ban list. Now we're telling you it's okay for you to take those supplements. You can do that. You can take these supplements for healing, muscle restoration, vitamin B, D, C. You can get ginseng, whatever. You can get certain things to try to boost a natural testosterone. They have natural testosterone boosters, right? So they'll allow you to know. So that's what that means. That the doping agency has said, okay, this is where we gotten. If you don't send us that, and we test you, you're an adult, first of all. You're a grown man or woman. You're not a child. Okay? Okay. You are in a professional sport, whether it's boxing, basketball, football, hockey, right? The Doping Athletic Committee said you are held responsible for whatever enters your body. We don't want to hear no excuses. So if you're coming to us and saying, hey, I drank this, this was his, you can have the very guy come in and say, yeah, man, I was doping. I had my cup here. He didn't know. Accidentally, he picked it up. I'm letting you know it was my fault. They're going to look at that guy and say, thank you for being honest. They're going to turn around, look at that guy and say, thank you for clearing up the situation. You're still suspended for a year. Have a nice day. You're responsible. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you can prove it. You ate eggs. You ate tainted meat. At the end of the day, what they're saying is you should have been more aware of what you're putting into your body. And if you have any questions of what you could put into your body, we're telling you for free, we will test anything you would like us to test for free. And we'll let you know if you can take it. So no athlete can ever say, well, I didn't know if I couldn't take this. Because they're telling you, we will pay for your postage and we will pay for your testing for free. So that there's no argument. And the boxer's like, I couldn't afford to have this tested. The test for this costs $300. They're like, no problem. Send it to us. We'll test it. Boom. You got your answer. That's how it works. So this shit with these guys, I didn't know I couldn't eat this. I didn't know I couldn't do that. Really? Well, sing me a song and dance because you're found guilty. Yeah, a lot of these promoter companies or networks is because, like, okay, you got, Ed Hearn, Matchroom, right? And they stream on the Zone. Their television company is the Zone. Their promotion company is Matchroom. Matchroom and the Zone works together. Top Rank is ESPN. When you sign with Top Rank, for that you can get television recognition, that's where you would fight and stream on. Prime is a second entity that works for pay-per-views. And Prime deals, Prime got a good deal with the Japan fighters right now. And PBC ran them off. The PBC has ran off everyone that we need. Pretty soon, had it not been for Turkey right now in boxing, where would you guys watch boxing on? What streaming platform would we be watching these fights? Are we going to wait for the PBC to give them to us? Because last year they only gave 5 events. Where would you watch this? I guess we would have to watch Pro Box. And that's part of PBC. Pro Box. Well, Pro Box and PBC got a working relationship. That's what they got. But Pro Box is there's a lot of fighters from the PBC that'll fight on Pro Box like that. But we wouldn't have anything. Showtime left. Everybody's leaving boxing. There's nobody else around. And Prime Amazon was trying to mess with PBC, and they ran them off. PBC's charging too much. They're charging almost $100 for this Gervonta Davis fight. Turkey just gave me a fight for $25. It was an amazing card. And on the Gervonta Davis fight, you got 2 fights. Let's keep it honest. You got some good competitive fights on the card, but you only got 2 fights. And both of those fights we really don't want to see. I don't know how Gary Antoine Russell deserved another crack at a title when he just lost. But that's boxing politics. I'd rather had seen Jose Valenzuela fucking fight another champion. Or even Gervonta Davis. You know? And I don't want to see Gervonta Davis fight Lamont Roach for $100. I just went online and checked to see if there were still tickets for that Gervonta fight. Bro, there's massive. You could buy up to 6 seats. I looked. I stopped at 6. I was like, what if I want 6 people to come? They were like, boop, boop, all available. The fans are starting to talk, you know, and they're starting to call Gervonta out on their shit. So, yeah, they definitely are. Yeah, Frontline, absolutely. Yeah, you know, because I like what Amazon Prime is doing right now in Japan. In fact, that Junto card was with a deal with them. Why can't we do that with our fighters? You know why? Because we're a bunch of fucking single fighting fans. A lot of us. And unless you're liking the same fighter, it's fuck you to every other fighter. These guys don't know what it's like to respect your rival or competition. They don't teach that no more. What they give out are participation trophies and try to say no matter if you're the number 10 guy and the number 1 guy, you guys are even. No. No, we're not. But that's what they're trying to do. And this wave of young men and women that are coming up now, they're really not built like we were. And I'm going to sound like my grandfather right now. When he used to say, you guys are not like us. I guess I see their point. The way they're trying to give these guys credit in today's era, they put the cart before the horse. They're trying to give Gervonta Davis all this credibility and recognition of this fighter he never proven to be. We believe he has the potential. But just because you have the potential, you have shown flares and signs of a great fighter, we should just award you? And that's where we're at. That's exactly where we're at in the spot of boxing. That a lot of these guys, like they were calling MJ and Inoue a hype job. Well, in fact, he's not the hype job. The hot job, in fact, are the fighters that are not fighting these fighters. And that's, in fact, what's going on in the sport of boxing, gentlemen. But these Japanese fighters, Filipino fighters, they're different, man. They're different. They're not about this or gold chains. They're not about that. They're about honor and the respect of combat. Shit talking, a lot of them do. I'm healthy shit talking. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna knock you out. You and your camp suck. My team is better. Healthy shit talking. I'm cool with that. We don't gotta talk about your mother, your girlfriend, your kids, disrespecting, belittling, like your kid. Oh, he looks like a crackhead and this. Oh, that's funny. That shit is funny sometimes. That's just like basic shit talking, but there's a fine line. You can get my attention and shit talk in the sport, but we can keep it classy. It could be borderline disrespectful on the terms that we're swearing at each other, but that's just in the realm of shit talking. These guys over here in Japan, I like their approach. Less this and more of this. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'll see you in the ring. That's how they getting down. The Filipinos, all those guys on that side of the world. I'm not saying that they're great boxers or they're the best because they do that. No, I like their approach to the game. The way they conduct themselves in and out of the ring. I think that's important for the young kids that are looking up today and are following their favorite fighter rather than seeing their favorite fighter getting arrested on TV for crashing his car into a pregnant woman. And her taking you to trial and you being sentenced for that. Is that what I want my son to believe is the face of boxing? Yeah, I want you to look up to a man like that, son. That's who I need you to look up to. Rather than the men and women that are doing it the right way, in and out of the ring. What's wrong with that? I believe a lot of these fighters over there are setting a good example for the sport of boxing. And although the sport of boxing, it is where it is today, I believe it is in good hands with the young men and women that are coming up. And I can't wait. Fight fans, I went on a little long right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a nice show, but I hope you enjoyed yourself and hope you learned something here today. You guys are my boxing community. You guys are my eyes and ears. Here at Round One Sports Talk, we can come here, have a conversation about boxing. When some days I drop the live stream, you guys can join the channel. We can talk about boxing. Unfortunately, I have a dinner arrangement. I'm going out tonight, so I'm going to cut this video right here. I'm not going to have anybody come on because I really got to get to this dinner arrangement. But fight fans, I having a wonderful time. I hope you do. I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk. You guys have a good night. Tune in tomorrow as I talk about more boxing, Gervonta Davis's fight, and we'll have an amazing time. Thank you, fight fans. Don't forget to share the videos, hit that like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. I'm out.